All right, what's going on, everybody? Tremaine here. We are going to do a real quick trade breakdown over today's PM session trade slash final hour macro trade. Opted to not trade the morning session because it's the day after a bank holiday, and I already got a couple comments saying, why did you trade today if it's the day after bank holiday? That typically applies for the morning session. Okay, the morning session after bank holiday can be a little bit high resistance, but the PM session, you can go in there and look for setup. So that's what I did this afternoon. Zoomed out here so you can see that this is a live account. And I just had my first $2,000 day today. So we're knocking out the milestones. We just had our first $1,500 trade, our first $1,000 trade. And soon we're going to hit that big 5K trade and that big 10K trade and keep it pushing. So we're working our way up. Let's go. SMT down here, a lot of people ask, do I look at SMT? Do I consider SMT? The answer is yes, but rarely, okay? I don't intentionally go in there looking for SMT, but if I notice a difference in between highs and lows in NASDAQ, S&P, and down, whatnot, then I'll use that as influence, but I'm not in here actively looking for SMT. That's just not my style. But if you look down here, okay, for one, NASDAQ is trading down into an old daily high. If we zoom out for just a second to a daily chart, okay, that's this daily high here. Your old daily highs and lows within the last 3 days, you're going to want to keep that on your chart, okay? Those are old reference points for liquidity, and you just want to transpose that to a lower time frame. So let's go back to the 1 minute chart here. And we also have sell side here. So not only are we dropping down, taking out this low, which is sell side, but we're also trading into an old daily high, which is liquidity. It doesn't matter how many times we trade beneath, above that old daily high. If it's within the last 3 days, okay, we are engaging liquidity every time we stab beneath it. So sell side taken here, old daily high engaged here, and we have SMT at the lows with the Dow. So notice how NASDAQ made a higher low. If we look at ES, it made equal lows. And if we look at the Dow, it made a lower low. So that's what the SMT was based on. Dow, lower low. NASDAQ, higher low. We trade up, clear displacement, taking out a short-term high. That's your market structure shift. And I didn't want to buy this fair value gap initially because that's a lot of risk. I wanted my stop loss beneath the fair value gap if I would have taken that as an entry. So I waited for us to trade into it. Wanted to see if we respected midpoint. Did we trade to midpoint? Did we trade to a lower half? So using this fair value gap here as insight, and I opted for an entry on the 2 minute chart. So this down close candle here, I'm using that as a bullish order block entry. Okay, we traded down into this 2 minute fair value gap, close above this down close candle. I'm buying the high of it there. Zoom in a little closer. Okay, this down close candle here. Buying the high. I'm adding one more contract. Buying the high, stop loss underneath this low with a little bit of breathing room. I'm not expecting this fair value gap to be overtaken. Definitely not interested in seeing price trade past midpoint. So a little bit of drawdown, no big deal. We stop at midpoint of this wick. Rally higher, stop moves to break even. You'll see all this in the recording towards the end of the video. I'll add that in there. There's no audio. I didn't have my mic on or anything like that. All right, we get an inversion fair value gap. This SIBI. Include the volume imbalance. Okay, do we want that to take us lower? No. What do we want to see? We want to get above it, use it as support. So drawing that through, you want to see that act as an inversion fair value gap. And then you also have this normal fair value gap here. Draw it forward, uses it as support. Nice displacement. All right, cleaning out relative equal highs with that rally higher. And notice how we form minor buy side before retracing lower. So admittedly, I didn't want to see us spend this much time inside this 1 minute fair value gap. Preferably, I would have liked it to stay open, but we didn't get that. It's no big deal. My stop is moved, and you'll see in the recording a little bit past break even, locking in a small profit just underneath this fair value gap because ideally, I didn't want to see that trade to at all. So sitting in this consolidation for about an hour is no big deal. Risk is removed, commissions are covered, and it was either a 2K day or nothing for me. So, all right. On Twitter, I shared why we're trading here away from the minor buy side and into this fair value gap. I said, should we trade above it? I'm observing the speed at which we trade above the 2:51 p.m. minor buy side. I prefer for it to be aggressive and quick. You see we get that here, and I had the macro outline as we approach 250. Okay, 250, or not 250, sorry, 350 to 410 is your macro for the PM session. They occur every single hour, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So that macro, all right, I'm saying we really have to get on the giddy up because we're heading into market close at 4 o'clock, and my focus is the relative equal highs up here, and then we have buy side up here. This gray shaded region is a new week opening gap, or new day opening gap, can't remember which. So I'm sitting through all this consolidation, fair value gap, although we're spending a lot of time inside of it, we still respect it, using it as support, and then we get to the time window when you can expect price to start spooling, 350 to 410, and there's your displacement. So entry, entry, and there's your exit there. So roughly, let's see, roughly about 50 handles, 60 handles or so. Not bad for last hour trading. I was bullish for those who tuned into the live stream earlier this morning on the public stream. I was bullish all morning. I wanted higher prices. Didn't get it. So in the PM session, this is what we had to work with. So hopefully this one was insightful for you. Hopefully you found it helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and roll that footage now. Discord members, I will see you all in the live stream tomorrow morning at 9:30. Everyone else, enjoy the footage. Peace.